Welcome to our Big Ideas lesson, 6.3, page 228 in your Big Ideas book. And I know you've read 228 and 229, so you can have a small idea of what I'm talking about. Today we're continuing with percents, and we're going to use the percent proportion. The percent proportion. You guys know what a proportion is. You know it's two ratios that are equal. I always like to do my template, two ratios that are equal. And a percent proportion is a special proportion. It's a special one that is used to solve three types of percent problems. And you know I'm talking about three types because you've read those pages and you probably know what those three types are. However, our essential question is very important. How can you use is over of equals percent over 100 to help solve a percent problem? Now, when you read page 228, you had to write down some notes, and you probably wrote down this percent proportion because that's what it told you to do. A over W equals P over 100, where A is the part, and W is the whole, and P is the percent over 100. And I'm going to show you something different. I'm going to show you this percent proportion. I always like to write my template. My template for my percent proportion is one ratio equals another ratio with the denominator of 100 because that's my percent. And word problems, percent problems, always use specific types of words. Well, now when I say always, it's not every single time guaranteed, but they're very helpful words. And I'm saying is part. So the word is gives you the A, the part. And the word of gives you the whole. Is part of the whole. And then of course P is our percent. But we write our percent, we write the number minus the percent sign. Why? Because we're putting it over 100. Remember, when we take percent, we turn it into a fraction, which we can write as a ratio, so we can put it in our proportion. We take the percent sign off, and we put it over 100. So we write the number for the percent. And then, of course, it told you that you have to cross products, cross multiply, then divide. That will give you the answer. So let's work it. Finding percent. Percent is one of the three types. We can find the percent, and it says 22 is what percent of 100? So I write my template, my two ratios that are equal, the second one out of 100. And I go, hey, 22 is, well, there's that word is, so that's the part, 22. What percent? I don't know what percent. I need a variable for that. I like to use X. You can use P. You can use any variable you want. And then it says of 110. Well, of is the whole, so of 110. Now we use our cross products, just like we did before when we were trying to find if proportions were the same or when we solved for a part of a proportion. Well, we're solving for a part of a proportion, except this happens to be a part of a percent proportion. So 110x is equal to 2200. Dividing by 110, x is equal to 20. So 20%. 22 is 20% of 110. Our next example, again, finding percent. Starting out with my template. Again, you don't have to write your template at first if you don't want to. I like to. It says what percent? Well, I don't know what percent, so that's my variable. Of 27. Well, of is 27. Of is the part, so 27 goes on the bottom of the first ratio. Is 12. 12 is the part. That goes on the top. Now we do our cross products. 27 times x is 27x. That is equal to 12 times 100, or 1200. Dividing by 27. And it gives you 44.4 repeating, which is 44.4 repeating percent. So 44.4 repeating percent of 27 is 12. Nice. Moving on, here's our second part. Our second of three types of percent. We're going to find the part. We're going to find the part. Of course, I start with my percent proportion. And it says, what number is 80% of 500? What number is? Well, that's the part. I don't know. That's where my variable goes. 80%. Well, that's my number that goes over 100. I drop the decimal, and I drop the percent sign, and I put it over 100. Of 500. That's the whole 500. Cross products, 80 times 500. Well, 8 times 4 is 40. With 3 zeros, we got 40,000. X times 100 is 100x. We know these are equal. Dividing by 100, well, the 2 zeros can simplify out so that x equals 400. So 400 is 80% of 500. 400 is 80% of 500. Moving on. Find 5.8% of 42. Taking my percent template. Find 5.8%. Well, I've got my percent. 5.8. I write that right here. Now remember, these are not fractions. These are ratios. And I'm writing percent, and percent is any number over 100. I can have decimals if I want. Of 42, so I know that's my whole. So obviously, we're finding the part. We use our cross products. Oops, sorry about that. We use our cross products. 5.8 times 42. 5.8 times 42 is 243.6. This is where our calculators come in handy. 100 times x is 100x. Dividing by 100, that moves the decimal. We learned what this does. It moves the decimal 2 places to the left. That's 2.436. So x is, so 2.436. 2 and 436 thousandths is 5.8% of 42. Wow. So that's our first video today on the percent proportion. We found how to find the percent. We learned how to find the part. Our quick write, 2 of them, A and B. 120 is what percent of 360. I highly recommend making your percent proportion template and then putting in the appropriate stuff. And B, what number is 15% of 60? Again, make your template over 100 and Ross and roll. Take a quick break when you're done, get something to drink, get a small snack, and then let's come back and get busy with video number 2.